We try to, once the network of researchers has been established, we try to assist them in consolidating the network into, well, I don't know, an unknown destination, because I can't really say, we're doing this now for 3 years, so I can't really say much. The only thing that I'm convinced of is that in this field of new media that is changing so fast, we need some form of sustainability in the networks that we have. Of course, some topics come and go, and there is an art of appearance and disappearance, and I can fully understand that. Also, there is the rhythm of the project. The project has a time in which it's been incubated, and it comes and goes, and you close it. That's all true, and there's a lot of that in the new media area. But when it comes to research, I'm a strong believer in creating some kind of interval for research, for critical thinking. And critical thinking and concept development needs time. And unfortunately, in this area that I'm in, there is no time. There is basically no time available. Everything has to be developed and realized on the spot. And this kind of almost structural impossibility of thinking and creating critical concepts has enormous detrimental effects. Not only does it mean that there are no accurate handbooks or serious books that deal with theory. Only if you look at it from a historical perspective. Only if you say, well, we can use a book that was very good 5-10 years ago, or maybe a book that deals with the history of one of these media. Yeah, you can use that. You can teach it. Wolfgang mentioned Flusser. Flusser, still very influential thinker. You can use his writings, which were very, very influential, of course, in the 1980s and even 90s. But really, for young people who are very eager to find out about, what's going on today, well, they need to be really trained very well in a number of disciplines if they can really understand and then also use a text like Flusser in this context, right? They want to build game engines. They want to fully participate in this emerging Web 2.0 thing. So there's really a big clash there, where the role of theory and critical thinking is exactly these days. I think we knew far better an answer to this, let's say 10 or 15 years ago. And these days, I can see that there is a kind of a looming crisis in that media theory has not really caught up with the developments. And I think it is very questionable whether we can really ask this from theorists. We can say, well, there should be a new generation, right? And that's fair enough to say. People in their 30s should, in fact, be now well equipped to deliver a very rich, intellectually appealing theory of internet and internet culture, right? Is this around? Is this available? Huh?
I don't think so.
No, it is not available. Okay, I don't want to sound arrogant, right? But in fact, especially young people, they are still overwhelmed by the speed of developments, right? And my students naively ask me, please, for next year's course, where's the theory of Web 2.0? Where's the book? I say, sorry, there is no such book. What do you expect? Huh? So this is what do you say? Of course, there are bits and pieces, and we can do our best, and we can really assemble bits of pieces here and there online, and that's of course the answer. You try to do the best you can by getting maybe some chapters from a book, all right. but there is no comprehensive, body of theory. And no. Anyway, this is something that we encounter time and again, no matter where we go. And I know, for instance, I'm very glad that, for instance, the computer games are finally picking up. Finally there is some basic literature, that wasn't there 5 years ago, that wasn't there 10 years ago, but now finally some, very qualified thinkers have finally sat down and made some efforts from the perspective of the humanities, art theory, and social sciences to come up with some really good basic texts. And I think that's a good development, and it tells you that we should, in fact, be patient and really do structural work and really start to dig into this in a serious manner, and then at some point very interesting work will come out. But at the moment, I have to say, we're in a bit of a flood. I mean, it is very, very difficult for us to say once again, yeah, well, read Lev Manovich's Language of New Media, which is from 1999, which basically, is a historical book that deals with Russian cinema and the comparison between Russian cinema and 1990s interface design, right? What does this tell a new media student right now about all the emerging issues that we're facing at the moment? Well, it maybe tells you that the analogy to cinema and the history of cinema is an interesting entry point, right? And this is this media archaeology approach, if we can call it like that, could be an appropriate way. But still, that again, as I said, takes us back to the historical approach, right? And very often young people just do not find that satisfying enough. So we see a really big urgency to create case studies, critical concepts, and for instance, in a field, I just see it here, new media in the Netherlands, it's completely impossible. We can't find any really substantial thinking that is done. Most of the interesting people that work in this field work internationally. They, by and large, neglect, their local environment, because why bother? If there's global demand, so there is a really serious demand, in my opinion, to get very close, detailed case studies done, and I think that's really the most urgent things that I see right now. Just to touch on some other issues, I've talked about it extensively. This is the project that I'm most involved in. It's about new media in the rest of the world, in non-Western countries. It's about the rise of China, India, Brazil, Nigeria, and other ICT power nations. It's a network that basically deals with this whole issue of ICT for development, the whole debate around the one laptop per child, for instance. That is now a contemporary issue, but a couple of years ago, these issues were kind of centered around the World Summit on the Information Society. Maybe you've heard about this. This summit took place twice, once in Geneva in 2003 and then a second one in Tunis in 2005, where a lot of these issues were debated on a UN level. Again, here we really focused on kind of capturing the debate, creating a network of critical researchers. There are not so many critical researchers in this field, because most of the researchers actually do consultancy work for NGOs and government departments, and these documents are very often not very critical. They cannot be critical, especially not if the work is paid for by a client. I mean, this is obvious.